whenever I go coppicing, what I do before I actually start is I tune myself into the spirit of the plants and I extend my sense of gratitude towards them. The amazing thing about the plant kingdom is that they are so willing to be so generous to us humans. They provide us with our food, with many of the materials for our shelter and housing, for our clothing, for so many things. So the next thing I do is take my bow saw and I go to cut my very first hazel rod. And once that rod is cut, I then leave an offering, which is my way of physically giving gratitude towards the plants. There's many different things I use. Sometimes it could be some of my bodily fluids, like my spit. Sometimes if I forget, it's my blood. I always give the offering whether I intend it or not. Other times it might be something else that comes to mind. So that's a very important part. First of all, there's a gratitude. The second is leaving of an offering. It's all a way of showing respect to the plant kingdom. This is how I get the materials for making the yurts, and it's called coppicing. What I prefer to do is I prefer to go to a wood which is like this one. This basically is neglected woodland that is not managed, and this is my preference. I prefer to go into woodland where there is no management plan at all, because people haven't got the time or the money to do it. And I go when I come across what I call neglected coppice, which is what this is. Now, if this isn't cut, what will happen is it will have a maximum lifespan of 80 years, and then the hazel will die. If, on the other hand, people come out and cut the hazel rods when they reach the right size, then that gives the plant vigour and life, and as it's cut, it gives it desire to keep on growing. And the funny thing about hazel is if you keep on cutting it, it will last for 2,000 years. So what I'm doing is I'm actually taking something which is neglected and in our current society wasted, and turning it into a useful product, which is a yurt. So out of this particular stool, you can see there's lots of really overgrown pieces. There's some very young pieces. And there's this piece here, and I use what I call my rule of thumb, which is I put my thumb up against it, and it's slightly wider than my thumb, so it's exactly what I'm looking for. This is the tool I use. It's called a bow saw. They're incredibly cheap. The blades are very easy to replace, and this one has a charmed life because it just lasts and lasts. So what I do is I find the right spot, move out of the way everything I don't want to cut, and I get on and cut it. And there we are. Now what I've got to do is trim off the end straight and cut it to length. And I go for 6'6" and 7'6" rods to make most of the yurts I make. And there's another rod, only 119 or thereabouts to go for an average size yurt. And here's a bundle of hazel rods ready for tying. You'll notice they're very straight, because I'm fussy. So I get a piece of string with a loop in it, like this. Pass a loop underneath. Bundle. String with a loop. Pull it so it's nice and tight. Pass it underneath. And I'll tie it with a single knot and a single bow. Right, just tie the other end. And it's ready for transporting back to the car.